Island called Boracay.
The voice of Boracay. Boracay. News, interviews, events, and the best local musicians. On the island that never sleeps. You're listening to Boracay Informer Live with Errol Sykes.
Mabuhay, mabuhay. Thank you so much for tuning into a new episode of Boracay Informer Live. I'm your Indonesian Filipino, your host, yours truly, Errol Sykes. And today we're going to do it a little bit different. It's Saturday, the 17th of March, which is part of the Women's Month here in the Philippines. Apparently, there's such a thing. I mean, in the Netherlands, we only have one day, which is the 8th of March, International Women's Day. But apparently here in the Philippines, we have a whole month where we honor the great creatures that women actually are. So we're going to switch up the format a little bit. We'll be talking with a strong, independent, empowering woman in the second hour, talking about environmentalism, but also empowering women from a very progressive and interesting, inspiring point of view. Her name is Desiree Segovia. That's up for hour two. In this first hour, as you know, with Boracay Informer Live, we're going to be diving into the local talents. And because it's Women's Month here in the Philippines, we're going to be focusing on a lot of female artists. I have a good friend at I got a good friend at Front Beach by the name of LP, who's the lead singer of Plug and Play Boracay. You're going to be hearing from her and her band a little bit later on. But now we're going to start off with a friend that I made at the Hangover restaurant here in Boracay.
underneath it all. You want to love me underneath it all.
You're listening to Boracay Informer Live with Errol Sykes.
Just a small town girl, living in a lonely world. She took the midnight train going anywhere. Just a city boy, wanna raise his self-control. You took the midnight train going anywhere. Cigarette and smoky room, the smell of wine and cheap perfume. Oh, a smile they can share the night. It goes on and on and on and on. Strangers waiting, walking down the boulevard, their shadows searching in the night. Streetlight people living just a fine emotion, hiding somewhere in the night. Working hard to get my feel. Everybody wants to thrill. Paying anything to roll the dice. Just one more time. Some will win, some will lose. Some want to sing the blues. For the movie never ends. It goes on and on and on and on. Strangers waiting, walking down the boulevard, their shadows searching in the night. Streetlight people living just a fine emotion, hiding somewhere in the night.
LP and the Plug and Play Boracay Band. You can find her 3 or 4 nights a week at Front Beach and later on in Boom Boom Bar. What I like about her is that she's laid back as a person. You can talk to her, you can really come up to her and ask her pretty much anything that you want to listen to in terms of music, and her band will then grant you access and they will play it. And this was just another good example of her talents. Whew, a lot of words for this strong, powerful, talented lady. Speaking of talented ladies and strong women in particular, I was at an event not too long ago of the Red Cross, and more in particular the Malay Boracay chapter, and I spoke with the chairman of the youth services of the Red Cross Malay Boracay district. Her name is Elena Brugger, and she had a great vision in terms of cleaning up Boracay and making sure that the children are the future, and that the investment of Red Cross youth services goes to youth, to elementary children, and also to high schoolers.
The voice of the island. Boracay Informer. Live. Hosted by Errol Sykes.
You're obviously in charge of youth department of Red Cross here in Malay. It seems to be a very vocal point, like a very important one. Why is that?
It's important because, you know, they are the future leaders of this town or in the near future. And it's good that we invested in our youth, and we just wanted to impart what is volunteerism, and this is, we have to not just instill in their mind but also in their heart. The young kids, you know, they are enthusiastic, they have all these great ideas, and the thing is, they speak for the future. Red Cross would like to somehow bring ideas to all the youth in the island, to get them all together and speak for the voice.
Yes.
Because this is their future, what they're talking about. No longer mine or no longer their parents,
Right.
but we have to listen to them. And we wanted that the volunteerism really exists in their lives, not only as a leader but in their everyday lives.
What can you say about these children bringing forth a change, possibly for the island of Boracay?
For sure, these children, for the present situation right now, it's a perfect timing. The challenges is actually among us, ourselves as a citizen, that we could actually do more. And with this present situation, and we have to equip them with the proper information. I hope it will tickle, not in their mind, but it tickle the heart of our leaders, that they should listen to these children.
Talking about, you know, the things that we as a people, as a community can do to invest in our children, who are the future, our future barangay captains, or maybe even the political rulers or leaders of Malay province or even Boracay. I want to give a big shout out to Elena Brugger and the good work that she's doing with the Boracay Malay chapter here for Red Cross the Philippines. And that's an example of how we should celebrate women, not just in this month where it's Women's Month, but also just in general, because there's a lot of people, a lot of women that are putting so much work, so much effort into our future, into doing things that are progress. You know, we want to think in terms of longevity. What is going to happen after that, after Boracay has been cleaned up? How are things going to be reinstalled? What is going to happen when President Duterte actually resigns as a president? How do we as a people, as a community, make sure that Boracay will have longevity, that our environment will be clean? Like I said, a little bit more on environmentalism and strong, powerful, empowering women in hour 2. Now we're going to go to a little bit more of empowering women in terms of talented vocals. We're going to go to my friends in the Hangover Bar with a rendition of Jessie J's Price Tag.
Why is everybody so serious? side. And about that, sing, and about that, yeah. Well, bang, wanna make the world dance. Forgot about the pride, yeah. We need to take it back in time when we together all unite. And it wasn't so much in a video. All together can be shine. When everybody so close, yeah. Nothing but get it all fall down and we try like I got it to be alright. Everybody to the everybody to the right. And you feel like yeah, we're getting it back tonight. It's kinda wanna money. We just wanna make the world dance. Forgot about our pride tonight. Everybody, cha-ching, everybody, yeah. Well, bang, wanna make the world dance. Forgot about our pride tonight,
You're listening to Boracay Informer Live.
Into the sky, we feel love. I am small. But you know how to say. Is created with fire that we should burn together. Now you're mountain high. Got too close to flame, pulling out harder. Oh, there's a heater. Watch the flame burn over the mountain side. We should fly tonight. We should fly together. When it lasts a while, for the last time, calling out from the hall. Stand by and believe it. Watch the flame burn over. Get no sign. Distillation over the sky. I see fire inside a mountain. I see fire burning the trees. I see fire all over the soul. I see fire, Lord in the breeze. But now should we go tonight? Should we all do the same? Gonna find a man out in the hall. We got to close the flame, rolling out farther. Oh, stand high and leaving. Watch the flame burn over the melting sun. Distillation is from upon the sky. And I see fire inside a mountain. I see fire burning in the trees. I see fire all over the soul. I see fire, blood and the breeze. Now hold that you there and burn me. And if the night is burning, I will cover my eyes and lift the tide, pretending my brothers will die. And if the sky is falling down and crash into this lonely town, and with the shadows upon the ground, I hear my people screaming out. I see fire inside a mountain. I see fire burning the trees. I see fire all over the soul. I see fire, blood in the breeze. I see fire, I see fire, I see fire, I see fire, I see fire inside a mountain. I see fire burning the trees. I see fire all over the soul. I see fire, blood in the breeze. And I hope that you remember me. Oh, misty out on the mountain below. Thank you so much. This came from Edgeron.
Hey, do you want to visit the beautiful island of Boracay? Perhaps it's on your bucket list, but you're overwhelmed with all the options. Now's the time to escape. BPHT will help. We provide VIP transport service, organized tours, and activities through our excellent customer support and great assistance for a stress-free vacation. Picture yourself on the white beach surrounded by turquoise blue waters and flat waves. There's also parasailing or fly fishing for an adrenaline rush. There's something for everyone. Visit us at www.bpht.com.ph.
The voice of the island. Boracay Informer. Live. Hosted by Errol Sykes.
Ulitin ko sa'yo ang nadarama ng aking puso. dumating sa aking piling. Kahit buksan pa ang dibdib ko, matatagpuan larawan mo. Ang laging hanap-hanap sa gabing araw. Ikaw ang nais ko sa tuwing na ay natatanaw. Ikaw ang buhay at pag-ibig, wala na iba. Sa aming puso'y tunay kang nag-iisa. Buksan pa ang dibdib ko, matatagpuan larawan mo. Ikaw ang laging hanap-hanap sa gabing araw. Ikaw ang nais ko sa tuwing ka ay natatanaw. Ikaw ang buhay at pag-ibig, wala na ngang iba. Sa aking puso'y tunay kang nag-iisa. Sa aking puso'y tunay kang nag-iisa. Thank you so much. It's a beautiful song by Alo Bernal.
You know what I like about Boracay so much is that you can go in to a restaurant, have some food, and a lot of these restaurants you got just live music, and you'll then be able to just request your songs, and in some cases even have the freedom to jam with them. And I keep saying my friends at the Hangover Bar, because these were three very talented musicians at the time, that when I asked for their band names, the band leader actually looked at me and told me we don't have a band. So they were kind of joking around with the name of their band. So I asked him, what was the name of that band that you tossed at the beginning? And he was like, oh, that's just for fun, you know. Basically what I realized in the last couple of months that I've been in Boracay, the last few weeks to be more specific, is that there are a lot of guys out there that are friends because of their musicality that brings that together, and then the owner of a restaurant comes to them and asks them if they want to perform night in, night out, and then they do it, and pretty much they'll just go off of the knowledge that they have in music. Sometimes they just pick their phones and watch the chords, and they kind of just discuss lyrics and music and keys. And I learned that most of these musicians here in Boracay are session players. They're not even in a band together most of the time. Everybody's like an individual instrumentalist, a vocalist, guitar player, bass player, percussionist, you name it. And they're just gathered with each other to just play around at these beautiful places here in Boracay, in these restaurants from beach or whatever. And basically they're just going off of talking with each other while, you know, just rotating. That's why when you are from beach especially, you'll see a guitar playing swapping out with a percussionist, and who's then swapping out with a bass player, who's then swapping out with the singer. And they just kind of rotate around as they are asking for requests from the public, who are just sitting there with their caipirinha or with their San Miguel Light, having a little bit of sisig or other Filipino snacks, balut for example, and then they just come together and make it a great night.
responders only. If you love just like the movie star, no, not even money out. Good love and mentally to the sound of the guitar, yeah. Play like a lonesome time.
The best local musicians.
Guess I'm on my way.
On the island that never sleeps. You're listening to Boracay Informer Live with Errol Sykes.
Especially for you, I would let you know what I was going through. All the time when I thought of you, I was feeling very too. And the dreams release would have known to you to be where you are. No matter how far, now that I'm next to you, or dreaming about tomorrow. Into loneliness and sorrow, I gotta say, so because of you, now we're back together. I wanna show you my heart is so, so true. And all the love I have is especially for you. Especially for you. I wanna tell you, you mean the world to me. I was hurt when love was meant to be. You changed my life. Ooh, you showed me the way. And now that I'm next to you, I get nothing else to buy. I wanna put the hurt behind you. I wanna bring you all the love inside you. And now we're about to get apart. Together, I wanna show you my heart is so, so true. And all the love I have is especially for you. Thank you so much. That's the sound by Yamayaki. Once again, welcome your hangover kitchen.
Isn't time such a phenomenal concept to think about? A lot can be accomplished, experienced, and expressed in a short amount of time. In just 77 seconds, your story and vision can be shared with the world. 77 seconds seem like a short amount of time, but with us, it's enough time. Your business will quickly reach and easily engage with your audience. Go to 77seconds.com now. 77 seconds. Let's connect.
Speaking of Ben, here's a song by Stephen Miller. Baby, you're so forget about all. Maybe you'll miss it like you so much.
You're listening to Boracay Informer Live with Errol Sykes.
Standing at first room, I saw your smile. Said I never talk to you for a little while. I will go and make my point. My emotions that's running wild. Time to time, we just roll out, looking in your eyes. Looking in your big brown eye. Ooh yeah, but I got to say to you, oh yeah, yeah. Girl, I wanna make you smile. Something you dance once a month. And then you cry. I wanna push it down, oh, 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 yeah. Girl, I wanna make you smile. Something you can't sweat some more. And if you cry, I'm gonna push it some more. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. One more time. So I say it to myself, and she looks beyond that. I'm too bad I know it's not too late to get down. With a little bit of this, a little bit of talent. My lyrics lost on the attack. My tongue gets style, and that's no doubt. Looking in your eye, looking in your big brown eye. Oh yeah, and I can say to you, yeah, I wanna make it stop. Yeah, after you can sweat some more, and the man cry. I'm gonna push it some more. Yeah, I wanna make you stop. So that you can sweat some more, and if you cry, I'm gonna push it some more. La 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 la. What? We can do the big one for coming low. That I got to say to you. Yeah, I wanna make you say, so you can sweat some more. And if you cry, I gotta push it some more. Girl, I wanna make you say, so you can sweat some more. And if you cry, I'm gonna push it some more. Push it some more, baby girl. I'm just a mind that don't like a mind. Looking off the show. Woo! I tried to concentrate, but I was to explore. Thinking instead of you takes me up above. And then when you look at you, all for love. Whoa, no doubt you look so fine. Whoa, girl, I wanna make you mine. Whoa, I think to be with a woman just like you. Whoa, no doubt, but only me. Who can love you like I can? Whoa, so just let me be with you. Oh my time, I love. Let me go. Oh, oh, oh. This serious girl, I wanna get close to you. Close to you, baby. Woo. Oh, oh, oh. This serious girl, move your body, close your mind. Move your body, move your body. you with a whole thing of wrong. When you time you read, I'm also for the 10 things wrong. Now when you come out of man, I'm a bomb on the tree, I'm a bomb when you time to let go. You come all up to la pele, como always so blue. I love you, smell of your hand, it's never been the perfect. Listen and listen, I'm the lights, the other room. Just as they know, I'm the my heart so. This serious, yeah. I wanna get cozy. I can't stay with be serious, yeah. Move your body, cause you're fine. Move your body. One more time. Whoa, be serious, yeah. I wanna get close to you. No fear. You love me, whoa, be serious, yeah. Move your body, cause you're fine. Move your body, cause you're fine. Move your body, cause you're fine.
Hey, do you want to visit the beautiful island of Boracay? Perhaps it's on your bucket list, but you're overwhelmed with all the options. Now's the time to escape. BPHT will help. We provide VIP transport service, organized tours, and activities through our excellent customer support and great assistance for a stress-free vacation. Picture yourself on the white beach surrounded by turquoise blue waters and flat waves. There's also parasailing or fly fishing for an adrenaline rush. There's something for everyone. Visit us at www.bpht.com.ph.
The voice of the island. Boracay Informer. Live. Hosted by Errol Sykes.
Outside Chicago, can't survive it, I don't know why. So many questions and even answers. 2 years later, it's still on my mind.
Never help me to a million dear hearts. The whole stars up in the sky. It's true love is once in a lifetime.
See the captain on the Titanic ride. Someday we'll know the talking to the mountains. Someday we'll know the stars burn. Someday we'll know that I wasn't meant for you. Does anybody know the way to the cliff?
What's the way to see?
I could just
One for the 97 times. Someday we'll know about the mountains. Someday we'll know about the stars. Someday we'll know that I wasn't meant for you. Alright, thank you so much.
So we're at the end of hour one of Boracay Informer Live. On today's session, the March 17th, where we talk about empowering women, and this first hour of music filled with very talented female artists. Why? Because it's March, Women's Month, right? As said earlier today, we're going to be talking with Desiree Segovia. We're gonna go and visit her at her heritage. That's a secret place for women where they gather their inspiration, where they build products to empower other women. And these are all women that have started from a place where they weren't so strong. And the mastermind behind this organization called Pinay Boracay is Desiree Segovia. We're going to talk with her in the second hour about what this organization is about, how this organization came together, and what their mission is, and how they could actually help the women here in not only Boracay but also over the Philippines, and their message of empowering women, which is definitely something that is very fitting for this episode, very fitting for this month, the Women's Month that we have here. And so I'm going to be asking the questions that needed to be asked just to get women a little bit more, their respect, giving their voice of dignity. So even if you're not a female, stay tuned for hour two, because this is going to be a inspirational and even motivational, maybe even transformational talk. Obviously, we got a lot of other musicians coming your way. That's what we do here in Boracay Informer Live. We give you the news with a little bit of a spin, and also that local talent, that live music. Instead of just going on YouTube, Spotify, or other places where you can get your audio, we will give local musicians here in Boracay the platform and the respect that they need. So more of that coming up. I want to thank my friends at Hangover Bar, LP, and the Plug and Play Boracay Band, Boracay Rainbow Band, and all the other musicians that have been performing here in hour two. We're going to have a little bit more of that. So stay tuned and see you here on Boracay Informer Live in hour two. I'm your Indonesian Filipino, your host, yours truly, Errol Sykes.